What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is season 14, episode 12. And before I get into the review, I just want to say thank you to everybody who, after reading what I posted on the community tab, who sent me like positive messages. I appreciate y'all, because right after reading some of the messages that were posted, I found out I lost my debit card. When I tell you, whoever was preying on my downfall yesterday, they won, because I was too through. I was sitting in the parking lot, like about to order food, and when I tell you I couldn't find it, I had to cry again. Oh, I was like, are you serious? I like took everything out of the car, was shaking things, could not find it. I thought I left it at the post office. The post office was closed by the time I found out that I couldn't find it. Called this morning, they don't got it. I said, okay. Okay. But I do appreciate people taking time out of their day to send me kind words, because you don't have to. I appreciate y'all. I really do. At least I can laugh about it at this point, because it is what it is. But again, I just wanted to say thank you. So let's get into this review. So, y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And I just got a few things to talk to y'all about. So, first up is Jennifer Tilly. So, this article was being shopped around last Friday about the cast, like, wanting her not to be a part of the show. It was a weird article, but I'm just going to read the screenshot I saw from Bravo Snark side. It was a lot longer, but a lot of people didn't think this was a viable article. But this is what it says. It says RHOBH cast ready to say good riddance to Jennifer Tilly. The ladies can't stand her. Jennifer Tilly is being lured by Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to return for another season, but she's saying no way, and the other ladies couldn't be more pleased, as they can't stand her pretentiousness another season longer, as a source exclusively tells Life and Style. Jennifer Tilly is the least popular of the group, and the ladies can't stand her and have been giving her the cold shoulder, except for Sutton Stratton, who's been friends for over a decade, and people wonder why, the sources says. Now, like I said, a lot of people saw this article and was like, they didn't believe it. I didn't believe it either, because I'm just like, who don't like her? It seems like everybody so far on the show is into her to a certain extent. You know, Erica is coveting her things. Garcelle and Sutton are doing the after show with her, and they like her. Kyle seems to like her. I don't know about Dorit and Bose, but it doesn't seem like they've been like rude to her or have issues with her. So I was like, this kind of seems very far-fetched in my opinion. I hope she comes back for a second season, because I enjoy her, especially on the after show. I hope that starts to translate more if she does get a second season, because hearing her talk about how close her and her ex-husband got once he got sick after they got a divorce was interesting. Also hearing her talk about motherhood and how she decided not to have children because she didn't grow up in the best environment and she didn't think she was going to be a good mother. That's a, what's it called? A take that I don't think a lot of people like to hear from women, but I think that takes a person who is very introspective to be like, you know what? I didn't have the best upbringing, so I don't want to hurt nobody else. But she did say she was grateful that her sister had nieces and nephews and stuff like that. But I was just like, who don't like her? So Bravo Snark say then found out that the only people that are not following her on the cast is Dorit. A lot of people thought it was Dorit or Kyle who put this information out there, but Dorit is the only one that doesn't follow her. So a lot of people feel like Dorit is the one that's probably shopping this story to the blogs. I don't know. We don't know who be shopping stories to the blogs, but a lot of people online were like, no, we want Jennifer to come back for another season, because people seem to really like her personality. I know I like her. She seemed kind of like a cool, down to earth person, in my opinion. And I like her quirkiness. It doesn't feel fake like Kathy's. It feels like this is who Jennifer Tilly is. You know what I mean? But let's move on. So since I mentioned Dorit, let's talk about how, girl, the people have been coming for her. She got shaded by PK and by Brandy Glanville. So let's talk about what OMFG Reality TV posted. So it says this: Dorit's estranged husband PK with a post via Instagram. This is what support actually looks like. Hashtag RHOBH. And it's a picture of him and Mauricio hugging. And mind you, I was confused because when I read the caption, I thought that that was PK and Dorit's father hugging each other. But it's Mauricio and PK hugging each other. And I said, oh, that's disrespectful. Not their friendship breaking down and y'all's actually working out. Nasty work. So let's move over to what Brandy had to say about Dorit. So she posted this the night of the episode, and she says, I feel like Dorit might have been doing a little bit of cocaina in the bathroom all night long, BITCH, allegedly as an audience member. The jaw doesn't lie. I said, girl, that's disrespectful. And that's not right. When I saw it, I said, Brandy, shouldn't you be healing after your face just got peeled back like a banana by Dr. Terry DeBro and scraped? Worry about what's growing in your face before you accuse people of doing hard substances. And mind you, I'm not the biggest fan of Dorit, but I don't think that's fair to throw such a harsh accusation out there and you don't have proof. The same way I think it's messed up for Dorit to try to insinuate that Sutton might be an alcoholic and use that as a joke against her, and I don't think that's fair. And I feel like if people are going to be mad about what Brandy said, then you also should take issue with what she's saying about Sutton, in my opinion. So moving on, I have a question for you guys. Let's talk about Miss Crystal. So a Twitter user by the name of KC posted this the other day, and he said this season of RHOBH is definitely missing something. IDK what it is. I know I've always been critical of Crystal on the show, but I am now starting to think they should have brought her back this season, IDK. So my question is, do you guys think Crystal should be here this season? Or do you think the network made the right choice by letting her go? I'm kind of mixed on this one because on one hand, I would be interested in seeing what Crystal, like what role would she play in this new season with Bose and with Jennifer Tilly and all of the, with Sutton versus Dorit and, Sutton versus Dorit and then Dorit versus Kyle. What role would she be? But I don't know. I just feel like the last season of us having Crystal, she didn't really give us anything. So like when we found out that she was let go by the network, it made sense because all she had that season was the issues of like her brother's love life, and that wasn't entertaining enough to keep her on. But I feel like based off the clips of me seeing her with her podcast with Cynthia and other clips of seeing her hang out with her friends in her normal everyday life, where Crystal seems like a fun person. So I'm like, if she were to come back, I feel like she should just be a friend of and just have a fun time. It just seems like after a while, she was so critical of herself that she started to self-produce, where I feel like at moments Crystal wanted to say things or wanted to get amped up and she just couldn't because she was like too much in her head. So the last few things we're going to talk about are pertaining to Sutton. So Sutton was on Network and she was doing an interview with Bryce Sanders, and he asked her about that moment where she interrupted Dorit before they went to Garcelle's, beach day. Sutton breaks the fourth wall and pretty much lets it be known that production were the ones that told her to tell Dorit it's time to wrap it up. So let me play that clip for you guys.
Attention was paid to you interrupting her talking about Jagger, asking questions about the divorce.
He said, but you and Daddy, you're always going to be friends, right? Best friends. And I was like, well, I sure hope so. I said,
there's incentive for you.
Certainly.
Yeah, that breaks my heart.
Can I ask you a question?
Speaking of best friends, I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt. Speaking of best friends, I did get a note from Garcelle.
Do you regret the way you handled that moment, or do you stand by what you did?
Well, so I rarely do this. I almost never break fourth wall, but I was told to do that because we had to leave.
Okay.
So, at some point, we had been there a while and we had to get to Garcelle's house. And I was the person
I think it would
And I didn't do it well. I was bad at it.
Yeah, you tried to find a segue. It was an awkward segue.
I tried to find the segue. I'm not a seguist.
I think it would have been helpful for the viewers who don't live in LA to have like a time on like it's going to take 2 hours for them to get where they need to go.
It took us 2 hours, and we were on a timeline, you know.
Right.
We had lunch planned. Garcelle had all of these.
Yeah, that whole beach day to film.
Yeah. So we kind of needed to go, and this wasn't the. I don't know. I wasn't good at it. I will admit I was not good at it.
So I actually believe Sutton that production told her it's time to wrap it up, because we do know in California, it's so congested in there. It takes like 2 hours to get to someplace that's 30 or 40 minutes away. On top of that, you can see throughout the episode or throughout that scene that Sutton was trying to figure out how to like get in while Dorit was talking. And like Sutton's been on the show for like almost 4 or 5 years, and we've never seen her like tell on production. So I feel like at this point she's like, I'm tired of y'all trying to put this on me when this wasn't even my fault for this one moment. You know what I mean? So moving on, there's this clip from the after show that got a little people upset because they felt like Sutton was trying to say that Bose was an angry black woman. I'm gonna play the clip for you guys, and then I'm gonna share my thoughts with you.
Well, she's trying to leave. Let her go. Come on into the house.
I'm not comfortable
She
here.
wasn't. I mean, y'all want to coddle her. Like, I don't understand why we're sitting around trying to convince her to stay. She don't want to stay. She's a grown woman.
We had come from a long trip. We were tired.
She was jealous.
Who?
Our little trip.
She was. We had just spent very emotional 3-4 days with Sutton. We've done all that, and then we're just going to let her walk out the door?
I saw that she was upset. Garcelle saw that she was upset. So we were just trying to talk to her as a friend. So why would that bother Bose? You've been standing by Dorit no matter what.
It wasn't even that I'm coming in defense of you as you.
Right.
If
I
it was
know.
happening in Kyle's house, I would have said
I know.
that. Just have some decorum. I'm like, if you're going to just be fair about it, let's be fair. But you can't be hypocritical and call me somebody's spokesperson.
Stop being Dorit's spokesperson.
When you're over here defending the person who's doing the wrong.
I don't really think she's in a position to say, you're Dorit's spokesperson. Garcelle's accused of it all the time with Sutton.
I knew that the minute it came out of my mouth, honestly, but we say what we say, and I was worried about her. I thought it was a dig.
Didn't you ask Sutton what she's drinking?
Yeah.
And you asked, is there alcohol in it?
So
You thought it was a dig, it was a dig.
Well, okay.
Garcelle, a million times, and even in that particular situation, was giving excuses for why Sutton was behaving poorly. Yet I am Dorit's spokeswoman? They're like, no, I'm also trying to explain the fact that we should be more concerned with our hostess than with the person who's trying to leave.
I mean, I'm like, what did I do, Bose, to make you so almost angry at me? I didn't understand where that was coming from. Why she was standing up so much for Dorit at this point and like not saying, hey, what's going on? I'm like, you're the one that was an hour late, girl. You missed everything.
Well, it does seem like Bose came in as Sutton's friend, but then it seems as time progresses that she developed a sort of antipathy towards Sutton, and I'm not sure where it's coming from unless it's coming from things that Dorit is saying.
You're entering this group with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the history, and you're a very, very intelligent woman. And you're seeing things firsthand, and you're noticing. And when I hear you say things that I know I feel, it validates.
Right, yes, those feelings. It is that I am seeing the situation and assessing it. It is who I am, it is what I've been trained to do. And so just because I'm seeing things and certain people don't like the way I'm seeing things doesn't make it not true.
Right.
Or doesn't make me biased. It just makes my perspective. That's all.
I feel like people are reaching. It would be one thing if Sutton says Bose seems angry all the time, or Bose is always angry with me all the time. Then I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't like it. But she posed a question. She basically says that she seems angry with me and you don't even know what's going on and you are an hour late to this event. I feel like that is an honest question. If I was Sutton, I would ask the same thing. On top of that, for people to be like, oh, Sutton's such a Karen. Yeah, all of them are except for Bose and Garcelle. Girl, we're watching people that have absorbent amounts of wealth. Dorit's a Karen. Sutton's a Karen. Kyle's a Karen. Erica's a Karen, and I hate to say it, Jennifer Tilly is probably a Karen, and we know for a fact that Kathy is the supreme of Karens. So saying that as like a gotcha moment is comical to me, especially in defense of Dorit. Like, girl, what? They're all Karens, except for Garcelle and Bose. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's when I know people have lost the plot, when they're trying to measure these women's like morality, and I'm just kind of like, girl, we watching a show full of wealthy white women who are probably detached from what is going on around them to a certain extent. I bet you half of them probably didn't even vote. And if they did vote, we probably know who they voted for. So let's keep everything in line. Okay? But let's move on. Y'all, so let's talk about this episode. But before we get into it, I just have to say this. It has been wild, okay? Wild seeing the Beverly Hills fandom morph into the New Jersey fandom. When I tell you, I said, oh my gosh. And I don't know if it's because the New Jersey fandom is like in limbo of whether or not their show is going to come back. And their toxicity is just like, wafting in the air because it doesn't have anywhere to go. And it has latched itself onto the Beverly Hills fan base. But I cast it out. Okay, I cast it out. Because when I tell y'all the amount of people I've been seeing who normally have like sane takes being like attacked because people don't like their takes about the show is wild to me. And it's only coming from two groups. If you are team Dorit or Bose and someone says something against them, you getting attacked. If you're team Garcelle and Sutton and somebody says something against them, you're getting attacked. It's like, can we just watch the show? Like, not everybody's going to have the same take or opinion. And just because someone has a take that opposes your view doesn't mean someone is like up these women's asses. It just means like that's what they see, just like that's what you see. But it's just been wild. So let's talk about it. So the episode opens up and we're still in Augusta. We see the ladies packing, trying to get ready, to go back to Beverly Hills. So everyone's congregating in the kitchen. You got Garcelle and Kyle letting Sutton know that they were eavesdropping on RHOBH and Sutton's conversation last episode. And I was like, I feel like she already knew that. Because y'all didn't do a good job hiding it. I thought it was funny, but I feel like she already knew. And Sutton kind of was like, y'all were? And I was like, yeah, girl, shoot, they were. So as Garcelle is saying, like, it sounds like y'all really were able to talk things out and you were able to say everything you needed to say. RHOBH walks in from the back of the house, quiet as a church mouse, and hears Garcelle and them talking about her. So then she walks into the kitchen and you see Garcelle being like, oh, RHOBH. I said, Garcelle, if you're going to talk about somebody, you need to sit in a space, in a room where you can survey all the entries and exit points, ma'am. So then RHOBH says, you seem really chatty this morning. I giggled at that because, yeah, girl, why are you talking about me in my house? Okay. So they kind of laughed it off. And then RHOBH's like, what y'all doing downstairs so early? Like, I thought y'all weren't leaving till 2:30. So then they were like, you gonna miss us, RHOBH? And she said, some more than others. I said, okay, RHOBH. And so, what's it called? So Kyle ends up saying in her confessional that she's not really excited to go back home, that she actually is trying to figure out how to concoct a plan to get, Garcelle and Sutton to stay longer in Augusta because she doesn't want to go home to an empty house. Because I think at this time, Portia was actually on her trip, her 16th birthday trip with Mauricio. And I felt bad for Kyle in this moment, mainly because I feel like Kyle is really struggling with her loneliness and being secure with being by herself. And that is a scary feeling to be experiencing in your 50s. That's why I always feel like it's important in your 20s to live alone. At least one good time. You should be by yourself without a roommate, like for at least a year, so you know how to be okay with being by yourself and the importance of knowing yourself when you're by yourself. Because I feel like oftentimes that allows you to enjoy your own company and it makes you more objective and selective of who you let enter your presence. Because I will be honest, I've met a lot of people, male and female, but more so women, who have allowed partners and friendships that they didn't need because they didn't want to be alone, because they knew this friend was always going to be around or this guy or girl was always going to be in their presence when they were dating them. They allowed that person to be in their lives when it was clear as day that person wasn't going to do anything but bring unnecessary drama to their lives. So I just feel like in this moment, it's sad to see Kyle struggling with this in her 50s. And it also makes me wonder, did she allow Teddy to move in with her because she knew Teddy didn't have no place to go after being found out for cheating on her husband? Or did she move Teddy in because she got scared of being by herself because Portia's on her way out? Because I think if Portia turned 16 in the last couple of episodes, that means she's 17 or 18 and she about to go to college. And I'm like, is she still entertaining this relationship with Morgan again because of Mauricio, him, sowing his oats? Or is it because you want to be with Morgan because you like her? Are you with Morgan because she will constantly be around? It's starting to make me feel like Kyle is just letting people be around her because she doesn't want to be alone. And again, that's sad to be dealing with that at 50. So while they're in the kitchen, Sutton ends up telling her mom how much she enjoyed her time with her and how she was glad that the girls got to meet her mom. Also in the confessional, Sutton ends up saying like she kind of doesn't want to go home because being with her mom in this present moment is starting to make her remember this time when she was a sophomore in college and it was like mother-daughter day and her mom came to see her and she was like, it was one of the best days she had with her mom where they talked and laughed and walked throughout the whole entire campus. And she was like, that's what this feels like. And she was like, they haven't been in that place since she was a sophomore in college. So she was like, she is just overwhelmed and overjoyed. So then she ends up telling her mom that, you know, I know you feel like saying I love you is like trite and it doesn't really have value, but I'm going to tell you I love you. And you have to at least say I love you at least once a year. So then Reba's like, when I'm going to say I love you, do I need to write it down? Like pick a day. And so Sutton ends up saying like Christmas. And she was like, okay, I don't know. I could do that. And then Sutton says, I love you, Mom. And then she says, I love you too, Reba. And the way Sutton was like, and everyone was like, Reba. And even Reba kind of caught herself where she was like, ooh, did I really just do that? And so everyone goes to hug her. And I just thought that was a sweet moment. Like Garcelle said, that was the reason why they came to Augusta for this moment. And she was just like, you know, it's really important for some people to hear those 3 words because some people don't get to hear those 3 words. And as someone who, like, my family always says, I love you, that we always say, like, I love you, or, like, something very sweet or endearing when we get off the phone or when we see each other every day, you never realize how important that is to some people who never get that. And sometimes I know how some people are like, well, I show you I love you. Yes, it's important to show your kids I love you, like, in your actions, but also hearing it is important, too. Like, that it's important to be like, you know what, man, I love you. I'm proud of you. Like, you are beautiful. Like, affirm the people in your life because everybody need it. Everybody needs to be affirmed in some type of way. So Sutton ends up saying, I got what I wanted. Like, I'm overwhelmed right now. Like, I can go back to California. Like, I just can't believe she said what I wanted her to say, which was, I love you. Like, I'm over the moon. And you could tell that she was trying to, like, fight back tears in the confessional. And she was just like, oh my gosh, she really said it. So I thought that was sweet. So then we leave Augusta. And we head back to Beverly Hills, and we're at Bose's house, and we see her cousin Tina. We find out that they're 10 months apart. Bose has 2 other sisters because they end up showing us a picture, but she also says that she's closer to Tina than her sisters. So Tina comes over, you know, they go outside and sit and have drinks, and so then Tina's like, so girl, what's up? And Bose said, girl, what's not up? She was like, we got a lot to catch up on. So Bose starts talking about Keely and about this fertility journey and this pregnancy journey that she and Keely are trying to embark on. So I like Tina because Tina's facial expressions the whole entire time they were talking was like, girl, what we doing? Like, she was looking at her cousin like, what? Like, make it make sense to me. So Bose basically says that her and Keely are on this journey and she doesn't know, like, are they moving too fast, basically? They flash back to when they were on the beach together earlier in the season where he said he wants 3 kids. Now, mind you, Keely look every bit of 48. He look a smooth 48 and talking about he want 3 children. Okay. And so we also find out that they're flying in a fertility specialist, the doctor, because I think her practice is in Las Vegas, but they're going to do an ultrasound to see if Bose is a viable candidate to get pregnant because Bose at the time they were filming is 47. And so her cousin is like, okay. And she was just kind of like, you know, Keely also has to give samples to see if he got good swimmers. Like, it's a lot. And now Bose is like, I feel like I'm getting nervous because we're like, you know, the pregnancy journey whole thing was a theory, but now it's coming into reality where we're about to really start this process. So her cousin is like, do y'all ever think like it's time to like pump the brakes? You know, pause for a minute, like we moving too fast. And Bose ends up saying like, she feels like maybe he doesn't want to say that because he was worried about it hurting me. And I don't want to hurt him by saying like, maybe we skipping over steps. I said, girl, what? I feel like at the age that they are at, everybody should be willing to be bold and honest. Like, I would understand this if this was happening to somebody in like their 30s or like 20s. But girl, you about to be 50 in a smooth like 2 to 3 years. Okay? Like, say it with your chest if you're scared and you're not ready to embark on this journey, because I don't understand the point of having a baby with a man who hasn't told you I love you and who hasn't given you the commitment that you want. Last time y'all talked about this, Bose was saying that she don't want to have no baby out of wedlock. Keely over there was at that table in that leopard shirt talking about, I'm glad that you're not rushing me to get married. So why are we talking about having a baby? Because if the parameters in order for you to have somebody's child is you got to be married, then why are we skipping the marriage step to pop out a baby? Why are we doing that? I don't like it. I don't like it. Bose is pretty, but she being a bird. And I'm just like, for someone who keeps talking about how, like, she's very analytical and she observes and she assesses situation, I don't understand how she can't assess it. This is stupid. As well as that man is giving scammer and a grifter vibe. I don't like it, okay? So then Bose, this what made me really not like it is when she explained like how bad she struggles and suffers when she's pregnant. I said, bitch, what we doing? Why are we being willfully stupid and putting ourselves in danger for a man that has not told you he loves you, that has not said, yeah, I plan on marrying you? Like, what we doing? Like I said, I was irritated after hearing Bose's pregnancy journey that I was like, you still want to have a baby with this man in this leopard print shirt with a receding hairline who's 48 years old on the beach with you cheering the business endeavors, who told you that I'm glad you're not pressuring me to marry you, but you want to be married to have a baby? You being stupid on purpose, and I don't like it. I don't. Because what we find out is that, unfortunately, Bose lost a child. She was 6 months pregnant, and she was 6 months pregnant with her daughter, Eve, either 6 or 5, and she had preeclampsia. Unfortunately, she got rushed to the hospital. When she woke up, the baby didn't survive. And I felt so bad for her. Like, in that moment, I was like, dang. And then when she had Lael, she ends up saying how much of a horrific pregnancy it was. That's what she called it, because she was riddled with fear and anxiety about losing her child every time she went to the doctor's office. She said that she would be gripping onto her husband's hand for dear life because she was afraid for them to tell her that something was wrong with her or the baby. And I said, with knowing all of that, you still want to have a baby with this man with a receding hairline who gives grifter and scammer vibes, who told you he's glad you're not rushing him to marry you, but you want to be married in order to have a baby. Stupid. Just stupid. And I don't get it. I don't get it, because even if you have a healthy pregnancy, you are still putting your body through a traumatic experience. Your hormones change, your brain chemistry change. You don't even smell the same to animals. And we having a baby. That girl on TikTok with the list is no joke. Women be losing their eyesight, their hearing, their hair, their teeth, getting osteoporosis, diabetes, nipples be falling off. Ripping your coochie in half. Like, one girl I just saw a couple of months ago was talking about, she thought shadow people were trying to steal her baby. After having her baby, that was her postpartum. She even said, I had to get the drugs correct. She said, had her mama not been here to notice the signs, she don't know where she would have been. Like, are you for real though? Like, putting yourself through that is crazy work to me when the parameters that you set for you to willingly have a baby have not been met. That's dumb. That is so dumb. And I tell everybody this all the time, whether you my friend or not, girl, don't have that baby if you don't got no family or friends around you. Because we know sometimes you can't count on the men you have children with. We just all know that. We all know that at this point. But there's always things that could happen. He could die. Well, that's what happened to Bose. Her husband died when her child was 5 years old. Sucked. Because she probably had planned a life for the three of them to ride off into the sunset together. And then you're stuck having to raise a child by yourself. But luckily, she had her family around her to help her. Like, if you don't got a village, like good friends and good family around you, because sometimes family is trash, but if you can find good people to be around you that are going to be there with you throughout your pregnancy all the way well into motherhood, then have a baby. But if you ain't got that, you ain't got no solid people around you, girl, you better go down to that clinic. Because ain't no way. Because the way my day was yesterday, how horribly shitty it was. I promise you, if I didn't had my sister to talk to, or my friends or my parents to be like, it's okay, and help me like calm down, I would have ran my car through the building, okay? On top of that, me thinking if you added a baby to that, that's, girl, I'd have been in distress for real, check me into a clinic. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't want to hear about this storyline no more. So we move on from that. And we see Kyle and, what's her name, Erica on FaceTime. Erica told Kyle about Bose calling her cold. And I knew she was because when Bose said it, the face Erica made was very much like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely telling Kyle. And so now Kyle feels some type of way because she was like, I don't think I've been cold towards her. Now, I know when I talked about that episode, a lot of y'all were saying that Garcelle has said that before. And I was like, yeah, I do remember Garcelle saying that she felt like Kyle looked past her and wasn't really trying to get to know her. And other people have said the same thing. So I don't fault Bose for saying that she feels like Kyle is cold towards her. Where I felt like she was messy was telling her sister that. Because you can't tell me that that wasn't messy. And maybe it's just because of the way I roll with my sister. You can't tell me nothing about her. Like, if Bose again were to ask me that about my sister, I'd have been like, what did you do to my sister to make her feel that she can't trust you? Because that probably would be the reason why she's cold towards you. Because she would feel like you're not a trustworthy person. And I know for a fact that if anybody went to Tina or Bose's sister, but we have sisters, we haven't met her sisters, but let's just talk about Tina. Bose said her and Tina are locked in. They be talking to each other telepathically sometimes. Like, if anybody would have went up to Tina and said, I feel like, Bose is real cold towards me. Like, is she always that way? I bet you Tina would have looked at that person like, girl, what did you do to her? I felt like that was messy. I don't care what none of y'all say. Because you don't question people about their family members when you not their family, nor are you that close to them. But them Richard sisters, they a different breed and they not locked in like that. And plus, I'm the oldest too. Oh, don't ask me nothing about that one over there. Don't ask me nothing about my sister. Don't do it. So, Kyle just is irritated, but she's like, okay. Cause like now her and Erica are joking back and forth about icebergs and being who's the ice queen, who's cold and all of that stuff. So it's time for 4th of July party. Now, mind you, it's a cute little nice setup. And Doree's talking about she wants the house to be filled with laughter because her and PK do the holidays real big. But the pictures that they show us are very old. Like, and I'm basing that off of her daughter. We end up seeing Phoenix. If Phoenix looks every bit of like 8 or 9 years old, and the pictures that they showed us, it was a Christmas photo and then 2 Halloween photos, and she looked every bit of between the ages of like 4 and 6. So I was like, y'all ain't been good for a while now because y'all don't have no current holiday family pictures. And is 4th of July really like a big family holiday? Not to me. Like, the whole thing, I just like looking at fireworks, but I'm like, there's been plenty of 4th of Julys I've spent by myself that I didn't feel the need to be around my family. I don't know. I was just like, girl, why are you acting like this is like Christmas or Thanksgiving? Like, really, like, those holidays are really family oriented. Heck, even, like, Halloween is starting to get that way. But I was just like, girl, okay, Dorit, putting on. So then we see a bunch of people come in, like her friends and family. She hugs them, greets them, and like everyone's in and out of the house, getting food and all of that stuff. She then goes upstairs. Sutton gets there first out of the ladies group, and she has these flowers. She's there, and she's just kind of like, hello, like, is anybody here? She walks in, and she's just like, hello, and she doesn't see anybody. So she sits down waiting, and she was like, girl, for real, ain't nobody here to greet me. Now, mind you, had it been me, I probably would have got me something to eat or a drink, but I still would have felt some type of way that nobody was there to like say hello to me or introduce me to the people around me. Because I do know some people do struggle with being in places where there are not a lot of people like around that they know. So you can't automatically assume that people are that they can easily mix and mingle with others. And as a hostess, that is your job to make everybody feel comfortable. But I just kind of felt like, girl, why you not downstairs? You was downstairs for them other people to say say hello and hi to? Why can't you say hi to her? And mind you, Dorit's upstairs rummaging through her jewelry box looking for a necklace. And the necklace was real basic. It was just like a nameplate. And I said, girl, it didn't even add to the outfit. So I'm just like, why was we doing all of that, Dorit? But okay. So Sutton is just sitting there. Time goes by, and now it's 39 minutes. And so Kyle pulls up, and Sutton is like, thank you, somebody's here. She even said, this is why I come late to things. I said, girl, me too. And so she sees Kyle. They see each other, and she's like, oh my God, girl, thank you. And she's kind of like, what's up? She was like, I haven't seen Dorit. But then Kyle notices this shrine that's on the table when you enter the building. And so she's like, girl, what is this? What is this here? So then, next thing you know, what's her name? Dorit comes downstairs. She sees Kyle first, so she greets her. Sutton kind of feels slighted because she's like, girl, I've been here for the past 39 minutes, and it's no hello, no hi, no nothing. But Kyle ends up being like, girl, what is this shrine right here? So now Sutton is like, okay, girl, let me sit back down, because I guess I'm just not here. I'm invisible. So Sutton actually sees Dorit's mom first and gets greeted by her before Dorit sees her. So Dorit is talking to Kyle, being like, oh, I didn't even notice that, girl. I didn't even think it was that serious. So then all of a sudden, that's when Dorit finally notices Sutton. She greets her. So while they're standing there, it's awkward. But Dorit says in her confessional, pretty much, she's like, are these really the people I wanted to see arrive first? Not really, but they here. So for everyone saying that Sutton had a stank energy because she already didn't want to be there, that's true, but Dorit didn't want her there either. So her attitude is just to stank. Like, my thing about it is, I feel like two things can be true at the same time. While standing there, Kyle ends up admiring Sutton's blue Kelly bag. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's blue, aren't we patriotic? Because she had her Birkin and it was red. So then Dorit takes the bag out of Sutton's hand and is like, I think you owe me this. And Sutton is like, girl, I most certainly do not. And it's getting awkward because Sutton is like, give me back my bag. And she was like, no, I think you do owe me this. And Sutton is like, no, Dorit, I really don't owe you nothing. So then Kyle's like, this is awkward, very awkward. So she even says it out loud, like, this is awkward. I'm going to go get me a little snack. And so Dorit says, I feel like everything that has happened between me and Sutton, this would definitely smooth things over if she would have given me this $32,000 bag after the way that she rudely interrupted me before we went to Garcelle's house. I said, girl, what? Because at first I felt like Dorit was trying to be funny, but then she took the bit too much, like she took it too long. So it made it uncomfortable. Because I'd have snatched my bag out her hand, like, girl, don't touch my, like, give me my bag. Move. So then Dorit ends up giving Sutton back her bag and they walk outside together to go get a drink. So then Garcelle comes up. She got these bell bottoms on. She trips as she walks outside, catches herself, and then they sit down together underneath this cabana area. They're sitting underneath the cabana. Sutton is drinking on some watermelon vodka thing that they got at Dorit's party. And Garcelle ends up asking Sutton, so what are you drinking? And she's like, oh, this watermelon thing. And so Garcelle's like, does it have alcohol in it? And she was like, yeah. So then Dorit was like, well, Garcelle, of course. Like, did you just ask her that she, like, does it have alcohol in it? And Garcelle's like, yeah. And she's like, well, of course, it's Sutton. Basically insinuating like, oh, Sutton ain't gonna drink nothing without alcohol in it. So then you hear Sutton be like, Dorit, shut up. You're such a bitch. So then Kyle is like, oh, Lord, here we go. So they do the flashbacks of when, you know, Dorit was like, do I think Sutton likes to put a little vodka in her coffee? Yeah, she strikes me as someone like that. Last season, they also bring up when Kyle pretty much was like, yeah, I said I didn't know if you were mixing alcohol with your pills. And then they also show when they were at the reunion and Andy ended up asking them, do you think Sutton has a drinking problem? And Dorit was like, I don't know. So Sutton is very sensitive about that. And she's very like pissed off because Dorit has never apologized. I guess Kyle has. I don't remember seeing her do that, but maybe she did. And so you basically see Sutton just be like, girl, you just being a bitch just to be a bitch. Like, I haven't done anything for you to be poking at me right now in this moment. Like, I haven't. And so Dorit was like, don't call me that. And Sutton is like, well, don't be like that. She was like, don't call me a B for effing sake in my house. And she was like, you know what, Dorit? You got it. She was like, thank you for inviting me to your home, but I'm out. I'm leaving. So Sutton grabs her things and she's steady making her way to the front of the house, to the door. And so Kyle's like, don't leave. And so she follows after Sutton. Garcelle gets up and she's like, she's just a little sensitive, you know, with the whole vodka in your coffee thing. And then Dorit's like, I'm sensitive too, Garcelle. As Garcelle is chasing after Sutton and Kyle, she walks past the bar and she's like, can I get that watermelon vodka thing? And the person's like, yeah, I got you. I said, oh my God. Okay. So in the confessional, Dorit is like, no consideration for me. Not even one of them checked to make sure I'm okay after she called me that in my home. Like, y'all are just going to run after the crybaby and make sure she has a drink in hand. So you doing that type of stuff where you're trying to insinuate she has a drinking problem. So why should people feel bad for Brandy Glanville saying that you look like you do cocaine? Like, if it's messed up that Brandy is doing it, it needs to be messed up that Dorit is doing it to Sutton as well. That's why I'm not going to feel no way when Sutton ends up saying, girl, you don't want it with me because my bank account is bigger than yours. And if I can, I will take your house. Like, Dorit could not be the one to get at me. She just, if I was Sutton, the way that I would be moving with Dorit, first of all, I wouldn't even have called Dorit the B word. I'd have just looked her in her face and was like, do you think you funny? Because you not. Like, that little stunt you try to pull in the house, it was awkward, it was lame, and you look real foolish in your house right now. That would have been my energy. Or I would have just looked at her like she was goofy. And if she would have asked me, like, why are you staring at me like that? I'd have been like, you know me and you don't play like that, so don't play with me like that. That's it, that's all. Like, we not gonna play these games of acting like it's okay for Dorit to insinuate this lady got a drinking problem and she not supposed to feel offended by that. On top of that, her daddy died from being drunk and on pills. He probably was an alcoholic as well, and he pew-pewed his brains out. Like, you don't think that probably is scary to her? You don't think that's traumatizing to her? And I get it. You don't have to like Sutton, but if y'all gonna be mad about Brandy, again, accusing that lady of being on the ski slopes, okay, then I'm gonna be upset with this lady trying to accuse somebody of being an alcoholic when she doesn't have any proof of it of her own. And it also shows how insensitive you are because your man's a whole ass drunk. He's at the front of the door being like, girl, I'm out of here. And they're like, no, just stay. And she's like, no, I'm ready to go. And so Sutton's starting to get emotional because she's just like, no, like that's not right. That wasn't right. And so Garcelle says in her confessional, I know why she's upset. Like, she didn't even want to be at this party, no way, but she took the high road and came, and now Dorit is picking at her about the whole alcohol thing. Like, she's over it. And so Garcelle's like, well, you know, she's not good at making a joke. And she was like, it wasn't a joke. Next thing you know, you see Bose and her crew show up, and she's like, excuse me, bitches. And Garcelle said, girl, let's not use that word. So Sutton moves out of the way because I don't know if she wanted I don't think she wanted Bose to see her upset. So she moves out the way, trying to like collect herself in a like hallway, taking like a deep breath. And so Dorit greets Bose and she's like, oh my God, happy that you're here. Normal, positive energy. I said, okay, girl. And so they're trying to we go back to Kyle, Garcelle, and Sutton, and they're trying to calm her down. And Sutton is like, girl, I don't want to be here. I done had to drink that nasty vodka drink. I want to go. So then she snatches off her crown and throws it to the ground. Now, that's where I was like, Sutton, you do too much. You doing too much. I said, girl, go pick up that crown. Because Garcelle said, you know there's kids here, right? You don't want them to get hurt. I said, girl, snatching it. I said, you going to pull out your hair. Chill out. So she was like, I'm going to pick it up. So she picks it up. And so she sits down. So then Kyle says it's not lost on me in her confessional that Sutton berated me for leaving. I said, girl, there was a difference. You left that party and then you stopped filming for a week. Sutton is trying to get out the door so she can go home, but she's definitely going to film the next day. Plus, it didn't even look like she was bothering anybody. She was like, girl, I'm waiting on my Uber inside your house with AC. It is what it is. So next thing you know, you see Kyle go over to Dorit and she was like, I don't think she's going to stay without you guys, Dorit, giving her motivation to stay. So then Dorit was like, no, I think you guys are going to be the best ones to talk to her because I don't think she's gonna want to stay if she hears anything I have to say. You know, she's the one that was talking all about sisterhood and everything. And so Dorit also says, I'm not the one that brought this up to begin with the whole drinking situation. And they flash back again to Kyle saying what she said. So she's just like, for her to be, Dorit says in her confessional, for Sutton to be acting out all over this one joke, it kind of makes me feel like there's more behind under the surface. Again, you saying this slick stuff in your confessional. I'm not going to feel sorry when that lady says my wallet is bigger than yours, because we know your house has been in foreclosure for months. You have more things to worry about other than my drinking. Make sure you keep a roof over your head with them 2 children. That's the energy I would be on for the rest of the season. The rest of the season if I was Sutton. Because it's like, girl. So next thing you know, you got Erica walking up in her best rainbow fashions. She got on them high heel, what's it called? Them high heel sneakers and a jean dress with a collar. I said, girl, it is 2005 and they want their outfit back. But I said, oh, come on, girl. So she said she giving slutty America. I said, okay, Miss Slutty America. So you could definitely tell that she was on an edible, or she smoked a little something before she came up in there, or she was on something. But she ends up coming in, and Erica's like, what's wrong? Well, like, what's going on? She's like, I'm leaving. And Sutton's like, I'm leaving. And she was like, why? And Erica's like, girl, I just got here, and people already want to leave. Like, let me get a hot dog first. Let me process what's going on. So Sutton basically tells Erica, she brought up the whole alcohol thing again. And Erica even made a face where she was like, ooh, because they know that's a point of contention for Sutton. And Dorit did that on purpose, because she knew that was going to strike a nerve, and she was successful, because Sutton definitely had a moment right there. So then Erica's just like, this too much. I ain't even got my hot dog yet. We then see Kathy be like, what's up, y'all? So while Kathy's talking to the group, you see Bose, some other lady, and Dorit talking, and she's like, why is everybody over there? And Dorit tells Bose what happened. So Bose goes over there and be like trying to usher everyone back into the house, and she's just like, Son's like, no, I'm gonna sit right here. You know, I don't feel comfortable. I'm not coming back in the house, you know? And Bose is like, why not just come in here and we can talk? And she was like, no, I'm leaving. So then she's like, why can't everyone come and like worry about the host? Why are we over here? And then that's when Garcelle says, stop being Dorit's spokesperson. And Bose is like, I'm not being her spokesperson. I'm like, I just think it's rude that y'all are congregating here in the front door and not like out here, you know, mixing and mingling with the people. So then she was like, okay, girl, if y'all want to coddle her. And then Bose walks away. Sutton is better than me. Sutton is better than me, because I promise you, had I been Sutton, I'd have been like, girl, if you don't take that thick wig and get out of my face, you don't even know what's going on. You're an hour late to the party. If I just said I don't feel comfortable, why not ask me why I say I don't feel comfortable? She just assumed that my friends are coddling me when they're checking up on me. If we are not friends, take your ass over there and go check up on your friend, i.e. Dorit. Make sure she's okay, since you're mad that everyone's around me coddling me. That would have pissed me off. That would have pissed me off, because you're being condescending. Talk about you want to coddle her, because I promise you, Bose wouldn't have said that about nobody else. Because I promise you, if it would have been me, I'd have cussed her out. I'd have been like, if you do not get the fuck away from me with all of that type of energy, because what do you mean coddle? My friends are trying to make sure I'm okay, and I just said I was uncomfortable. Get the fuck away from me. I can't. I like Bose. I really do. I do. But her energy at times is off-putting, because just like Sutton at times, she feels like she knows what's going on with everybody, and you don't. You don't. You don't know what's going on with everybody. If you're this lady who does all these assessments and you do all this observing, then I would expect you to get everybody's opinion and perspective before making a judgment. If that's what you've been trained to do, what you keep saying. Like, you don't even know what's going on. Again, you are an hour late. And if someone tells you I'm uncomfortable, and your response to them is, why is everyone coddling her? Girl, I'd have cussed her out. I would have cussed her out. Because one, I'm already feeling some type of way, because this lady's insinuating that I'm a drunk. I done told her I don't like that. She was 39 minutes late to greeting me. She didn't even acknowledge my presence for like 4 minutes. And you have the audacity to say that my friends are coddling me. Girl, I told her to get out my face I'd have told her to get out my face so quickly. And see, the way my friends are set up, they would have cussed her out. They would have told her, why are you addressing her anyway, bitch? We not your friends. Like, my friends would have ate her up so badly. Because they would have been like, who are you talking to? So then finally, Sutton's rideshare gets there, and they basically get in the car. She gets in the car and she leaves. Kyle basically is like, who is Bose to be like, why are you chastising us? Like, you don't even know what's going on. Like, you just came in here, you automatically defended Dorit. And I know a lot of people who are like Team Bose and Dorit. Like I said, I have no issues with them being friends. I don't care that they're friends. I really don't. But my thing about it is, you keep lending to this narrative that a lot of people feel about you, Bose, that you blindly defend Dorit. By doing that, you walked in here, you didn't even ask anybody anything. Like, if someone says I'm uncomfortable, my first thing is to be like, well, why are you uncomfortable? I'm not worried about Dorit, who's the host. I'm worried about this person who's sitting here, who has everyone around her being like, just come back inside. I'd have been like, what's going on? What's going on? So then, like I said, Sutton gets in the car and she rides off. You see, Erica had already walked away from them, and she got herself something to drink and a hot dog. She's sitting down. So then Bose goes and sits underneath the pavilion or whatever, and she was like, I told them to come over. So then now Dorit is feeling all emboldened because Bose just went over there and chastised them for her. And she was like, the lack of empathy, the lack of the support, like, don't be a bitch, don't be a douche, you don't be a vile human being. And while she's going off, Erica's just looking at her like, girl, okay, like, you really feeling your zhuzh right about now because you got your friend right here. Okay, good for you. So next thing you know, Sutton, as she's getting into the Sprinter, ends up saying, like, I'm sorry that my divorce was clean and my businesses haven't failed. And I said, okay, girl, put it on the table. Because this is my thing. If you gonna be nasty, let's be nasty. If you gonna piss me off, let's piss each other off at this point. Like, if you want to play tit for tat, let's do that. Let's do it. Let's go. So the rest of the girls come back in and they sit down and they're talking and they're like, she's upset because you brought up the whole vodka in the coffee. So then Dorit was like, are you saying that it's okay for her to call me a B in my house? And I was like, well, you called her. So then they were like, well, you basically were trying to insinuate that she's an alcoholic. So then Bose is like, is that equivalent? Her calling her a B in the vodka thing? You haven't been here, so you don't even know the gravity of the situation. That's the part that's annoying, Bose. You haven't been here. Even if you don't like the lady, if somebody tells you, I don't like that you are trying to insinuate that I am a drunk, please stop it. And they consistently do it. I'm going to call you everything but a child of God because I already told you off rip. Do not do that. Simple. It's very simple. If someone tells you, please don't do that, I don't like when you do that, and they consistently keep doing it, how is the person supposed to react? How? That doesn't make sense. So then they start the whole spokesperson thing. Look, has Garcelle been a spokesperson for Sutton? Yeah, at times she has. We've seen Bo stand up for Dorit? Yeah, it is what it is. They both do it. Woo. I don't care. If you doing it and I agree with it, I'm cool with it. If you doing it and I don't agree with it, I'm going to tell you I don't agree with it. And at that moment, Bose didn't even know what was going on and should have sat there and got herself a cute little drink and went about her business, especially because it's clear she don't like Sutton. That's just what it is. So we see Bose and Garcelle get into it, and basically she was like, I just don't understand why y'all were all rallying around her. Like, can we talk about it? Like, this is supposed to be the sisterhood thing. So Garcelle's like, is it really a sisterhood if you came into the house just calling us rude? And she was like, well, that's what sisters do. So then she brings up, well, girl, every time we're talking to you, you always talking about Dorit or defending Dorit. It's never just like a one-on-one situation where it's like you don't even know what's going on. So then, I think that's what it's called. I think that's when Garcelle was like, well, she felt uncomfortable. And didn't you feel uncomfortable? You said Kyle was cold. And so Bose is like, well, yeah, I said she was cold. And Kyle was like, yeah, and I have a problem with you calling me cold because I think I've been very nice to you. So they do a flashback. It hasn't seemed like Bose or Kyle has ever had any in-depth conversation, and that's why Bose feels like Kyle is cold to her. I don't know. I feel like Bose wants Kyle to tell her more of her business, but the only person that has been spilling their tea to her is Dorit, because if we're going to be honest, we have yet to see her have any one-on-one sit-downs with anybody else other than Dorit. Well, no, she sat down with Kyle. Kyle was trying to get her on her side about the whole PK thing after she had surgery. We saw her talk to Garcelle, but that wasn't really a deep conversation. It was all about the text message and all of that stuff. And then that's it. We saw her talk to Sutton, but when she spoke to Sutton, it was about Sutton introducing her to all of the ladies at the surreal party. The only person that she's had like serious conversations with has been Dorit. So what we talk about, because Bose's whole thing was like, well, I've had very in-depth conversations with everybody here except you. So she ends up saying in her confessional she feels like Kyle is very sharp with her. But I'm also like, I can see why Kyle wouldn't be open to Bose. You constantly, like, you see Dorit's side as being correct, which is your right to see her side as being correct in this situation. So I guess Kyle doesn't feel like if anything she shares with you, it's going to be taken as you care about what she has to say, because you already have your guard up because you're on Dorit's side. Then she ends up saying, like, you're just very judgy. She called her Judge Judy. I giggled at that because she was just kind of like, you were telling me to delete PK's number. You don't even know PK. And as they're talking, once she said that, Dorit want to jump in. Dorit should have shut up and let them argue or talk out their situation, because I feel like they were getting somewhere. Because Bose ends up saying, like, if you feel like I'm judging you, that's not what I'm trying to do. And I feel like had they kept talking, they probably could have came to some type of understanding. But then Dorit and Kyle get into it. They get into a back and forth because Dorit ends up saying, I don't even know what's going on with you. And Kyle's like, what do you mean you don't know what's going on with me? You know, I've been married for almost 30-something years. I'm about to get a divorce. I got 4 kids. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Dorit? And I was like, yeah, Dorit, what are you talking about? Like, she has shared like things about you with her divorce and things of that nature. And she was like, well, are we going? So Dorit's like, are we going back? Are we going back? Just because y'all said y'all were having a clean slate doesn't mean y'all are not going to fight. And so Kyle starts to raise her voice. And so Dorit's like, don't scream at me. And so Garcelle's like, she's not screaming. And so that puts off Dorit. Kyle ends up saying, like, girl, you're so up her butt. Like, you're so up Bose's butt, it's gross. You're like, every time she says something, yep. And it's funny because in the after show, she do that. Dorit and Bose be like, anytime Bose says something, yes. Yeah. And anytime Bose says something, Bose agrees with Dorit. I was like, girl. So they leave to have a private conversation together. Kathy was like, that's the best move from them. You know, we don't want to make mountains out of molehills. They go upstairs. Dorit's upstairs is disheveled and it's chaotic. Kyle says she feels better about her space because it ain't this bad. Dorit says, you know, she's trying to catch her breath because right now she's just like all over the place. So pretty much Dorit is basically like, you know, discombobulated and disjointed. And Kyle ends up saying that says a lot about her mental state because normally Dorit is very OCD. They have a conversation about their relationship and their relationships with their spouses. And what it boils down to is PK and Mauricio pretty much have been preparing to separate from both of these women since they gotten to the point in their relationship because they're living their lives. Kyle said, you know, they had a 6-month period where they were going to be separated and then come back and reevaluate whether or not they wanted to get a divorce. She's like, she doesn't say she doesn't want to get a divorce, but she was like, if it's going to stay like this, then I have to get a divorce. Dorit ends up saying, well, if PK wants a divorce, we're going to get a divorce. I don't understand why we just waiting in the water. If you don't have plans on getting back together with these men, get a divorce. Head all the way down to the, to the courthouse and go get you a lawyer. Y'all got enough money to do that. I don't understand the point of waiting for these men to tell you, yeah, I want to sign the divorce papers. Because Kyle says anytime she suggests a divorce, Mauricio is like, I don't think we there yet. Clearly y'all are there yet, because you was out here with Morgan, and we know Mauricio probably, the rumor is he always in these streets. And then the episode ends with, him kissing that model. I talked about that in the drama video. But I'm just like, girl, you was out here with Morgan getting tattoos and fake kissing her in her music videos. I don't get the point of dragging your feet. And I don't get the point with Dorit dragging her feet. You said that man is an alcoholic and a monster. Why are we trying to get back together with him if you're always at home alone? I don't want to hear about this no more. I don't want to hear about this anymore from either one of them. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. And as always, remember to be bravely authentic. Again, thank you to everybody who sent me positive messages. I really do appreciate it, okay? And being patient with me with trying to get this video out. But yeah, remember to drop down in them comments below, like, and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.